They didn't just cancel a show. They pressed pause on an entire narrative. Hours before Keith Urban was supposed to light up Greenville, South Carolina, doctors stepped in. Not a promoter, not a manager, doctors. And in one sentence, a packed arena went silent. Complete vocal rest. Laryngitis. Effective immediately. But here's the twist. This wasn't happening in a quiet week. This was the eye of a bigger storm. Because Keith Urban isn't just a country megastar in the middle of a tour. He's a man walking through a divorce. 19 years, 2 daughters, and a love story the world thought was bulletproof. So why did that one canceled show hit so hard? Because it told us the most honest thing a celebrity can say. Nothing. And yet the silence said everything. Let's rewind. Then we'll press play. Because if you follow the notes and the noise, a pattern emerges. One that starts on a stage, but doesn't end there. The announcement landed with a thud. Greenville. Postponed? No. Canceled. Fans had arranged babysitters. Booked hotels, tailgated, took selfies in the parking lot, and then the update dropped. Keith's longtime laryngologist, yes, the actual voice doctor, put him on complete vocal rest. Not a suggestion, a mandate. It was sudden. It was final. And it was the kind of decision you make when your instrument is on the line. Keith's message to fans felt like a confession without the guilt. He said he never takes any of them for granted. He said he knows what it takes just to get to a concert these days. And then he promised to make it right. In another line, there was hope. The next night, Nashville, home turf, optimism, if the voice rebounds in time. But there's something sacred about a canceled show. It's like a red flare shot into the dark. Something's happening, even if you can't see it yet. And this time, the backdrop wasn't just fatigue. It was a marriage unraveling in public, piece by piece, even as the stage lights kept burning. Let's talk about timing, because timing is everything. On paper, the High and Alive tour was a sprint built for a machine, city after city, back-to-back nights, endless travel, the same songs shaped into different memories for thousands of people. He'd launched in May and kept burning through the summer. The band was tight. The vibe was electric. The crowds were loud. Everything you want from a touring season. But real life doesn't wait for your encore. Not when paperwork appears. Not when a ring comes off. Not when headlines learn a new word, separation. So here's what you need to know. This divorce didn't come out of nowhere. It arrived like a quiet drumbeat, months earlier, with little things that felt like nothing, until they were everything. A radio call, a lyric switch, a city where he landed alone, a photo where she stood without him, and then ink on a page. When an artist's personal and professional crescendos collide, you don't get a louder song. You get static, and static is where rumors grow. Now let's go to that viral moment. The one clip that would have been nothing in any other year, a simple line in The Fighter, a playful on-stage moment, a small rewrite in the heat of a show. Except this time, fans heard it as a coded message, because Keith didn't sing Baby. He slipped in a name, Maggie. He sang it to the guitarist on stage with him. He smiled, she smiled, the audience laughed, and the internet did what it does best. Was it a wink? Was it harmless fun? Was it something else? Let's be crystal clear. There's no proof of anything beyond the stage. None. But fandoms run on patterns, not proof. And the lyric switch arrived right when people were already listening for cracks. Do you know how fragile a voice is? 2 little folds. That's it. A cough, a cold, dehydration, air conditioning, allergies, stress. Anyone can flip your night from standing ovation to I can't phonate. Add all of them together? That's not just a bad day. That's a stop sign. And the more the outside noise grows, the more those tiny folds tighten. The mind speaks. The muscles listen. Every artist knows this. And every fan claims they understand. Until the cancellation email lands in their inbox. There's a moment every summer where you realize the season is changing. Not because of the temperature, but because of the light. For Keith and Nicole, that moment came quietly. You could feel it in the posts, in the photos, in who stood next to who, and who didn't. Then came the talk of Portugal. New chapters, new places, new paperwork. A plan that sounded thoughtful, practical, grown up. But beneath that, distance. The kind of distance you can't measure with miles. The kind you measure with eye contact. with silence at the dinner table, with the way two people stop finishing each other's sentences, and for a while, the public only saw what they were meant to see. Family moments, red carpets, routines. But when you know, you know. And in late summer, the knowing turned into ink. That's when everything got louder. What does a ring symbolize when you're on tour? It's not just jewelry, it's a promise you carry on stage. So when someone walks out without it, fans notice. They pause the clip, they zoom in, they screenshot, they speculate, and just like that, choices that were probably about comfort or practicality turn into headlines. That's the life of a celebrity marriage. Two people living in a fishbowl with a million faces peering in, searching for clues. And when the bowl cracks, everyone wants to be the first to say they saw it coming. But look closer. Not at the ring. Not at the clip. At the eyes, artists can fake a smile. They can't fake a stare. Watch Keith in those late September videos. The showmanship is still there. The guitar, the grin, the instincts. But behind the shine, another story is playing. And it's not major key. Why does the Greenville cancellation matter so much? Because it's the first time the music stopped before the rumors did. In the past, the career always outran the gossip. Put Keith on a stage and everything else went quiet. That's the power of a great live act. It resets your narrative in real time. But when the voice goes, suddenly the loudest thing isn't the chorus. It's the commentary. Let's talk laryngitis for a second. It's not dramatic. It's not scandalous. It's boring. But it's also brutal. Imagine waking up with a throat that feels like sandpaper. You try to talk and the sound cracks. You try to sing and the note disappears. So you push, just a little. And that's the trap. Pressure equals friction. Friction equals swelling. Swelling equals silence. Doctors don't put performers on complete vocal rest for fun. They do it because it's the only cure that works quickly. Shut it down now or risk a blowout later. Night off or weeks off. That's the math, so yes, Greenville hurt. But it may have saved the next month. Now step into the Nashville question. There are music cities, then there's Nashville. It's home court for Keith. It's family, friends, crews. It's where the spotlight is warmer and the stakes are higher, because everyone who knows you is watching. If he walks onto that stage and lands the first phrase clean, that's less a note than a verdict. The voice is fine. The tour is alive. The man is still here if he can't. The chatter spikes again. That's just how it works. In this industry, there is no neutral. Every night pushes the story forward, toward legend or toward repair. And sometimes, the bravest choice isn't to sing through it. It's to shut up and heal. But the world isn't just watching Keith. It's watching Nicole. Shows her message over the past weeks could be summed up in 3 words. Grace under pressure. She didn't go scorched earth. She didn't spill private details. She didn't finger point on social media. Instead, she spoke in a way that women across the world recognized instantly. Calm, resilient, forward-looking. The kind of steady you earn, not pretend. When one half of a couple goes quiet and grounded, the other half gets put under a brighter light. Every tiny move looks louder. Every tiny mistake looks bigger. It's not fair. It's just how audiences work. So Keith's choices. Onstage lyric play, ring no ring, who stands where, started moving from fun tour moments to evidence boards. Online, the forums filled with screenshots and timelines. Some posts felt thoughtful, most didn't. And that's where we need to draw a line. There's speculation. And there's a story. Speculation is a fog machine. The story is what's documented. And right now, the documented story is this: a canceled show, a voice on rest, a divorce in motion, and a man trying to keep the art from getting swallowed by the narrative. Let's zoom back into the artist for a minute. Because there's something people forget about Keith Urban. Beneath the stadium scale, he's a meticulous craftsman. The kind of player who can make a giant arena feel like a front porch. The kind of singer who can pull a crowd to a whisper without asking. That finesse doesn't come from volume. It comes from control. Control of breath. Control of phrasing. Control of emotion. You can't have any of that if your chords are inflamed. You can't fake it for 90 minutes. You can't trick physics. And something else happens when your voice goes, your confidence follows. Suddenly, you're measuring every word. Suddenly, you're saving every note. Suddenly, the arena feels bigger than it did yesterday, which is why the smartest artists listen to their doctors. even when it means facing the one thing performers fear most: disappointing the people who love them. Think about the fans in Greenville. They didn't just want a show, they wanted a night, the drive-in, the slow march to the doors, the first blast of cold air inside, the merch line, the pre-show playlist, the lights going black. Those are rituals. They matter. And when those rituals break, it hurts. You stand in the hallway reading your phone, trying to find a silver lining. You tell yourself, he'll reschedule. You tell yourself, he'll be back. You tell yourself, it's just a throat. And maybe that's the truth. Maybe the simplest version is the right one. A singer got laryngitis. A tour missed a step. A marriage ended with dignity. Life went on. But what if it's also something more? What if that pause is a pivot? Every career reaches a turning. Some turns are loud, a new sound, a big collab, a risky album. Some turns are quiet. You stop, you heal, you recalibrate, you return. Keith has lived both. He's been the chart topper and the comeback kid. He's walked through rehab, reinvention, reinvigoration. He knows how to lose himself and how to find himself again. So when he cancels a show now, in this moment, with this storm overhead, it's not running, it's choosing. Choosing the long game over a quick fix. Choosing the next 10 years over the next 10 minutes. Choosing the voice that will tell the next chapter over the rumor that wants to write it for him. Let's talk about the lyric switch one more time, because it's the kind of onstage moment that takes on a life of its own. Artists banter. They improvise. They tease bandmates. They riff. Most nights nobody cares. But when your life is trending, every ad-lib becomes a headline. Could it have been just fun? Absolutely. Could it have been a message? Maybe. Do we know? No. And that's where responsible conversation lives. Inside the "we don't know." Because if there's one thing celebrity culture gets wrong over and over, it's confusing proximity for proof. You can stand next to someone on stage, smile, sing a line, and mean nothing more than, "Thanks for playing your heart out tonight." The internet prefers the spicier version, but reality often prefers the boring one. So, what does the road ahead look like? A few checkpoints matter. First, the next stage appearance. Not for gossip, for vocal health. If he sings clean and easy, the story recenters on the music. If he needs more time, the smart move is still rest, therapy, hydration, technique. Do the work. Let the instrument recover. Second, communication. Keith has always been good at this. Little notes to fans, simple thank yous, humility when it counts. This is the moment where a short, honest update means more than 100 interviews. Third, the set list. Watch what stays and what changes. Watch where he places the heavy hitters. A thoughtful reorder can save a voice and save a night. Fourth, the band chemistry. If the crew feels relaxed, the audience breathes out with them. If the crew feels tense, the room knows it before the first chorus. And fifth, the bigger picture. When personal life and professional life rewrite themselves at the same time, artists tend to come back sharper. Fewer smiles that don't reach the eyes, more songs that do. That's not a prediction. That's a pattern. Let's circle back to Nicole, because divorces that begin with restraint often end with respect. Public statements have stayed measured. Legal filings look structured. The parenting plan sounds like two adults choosing their children over everything else. You may never see the rawest parts, and that's the point. Not everything needs an audience. Not every wound belongs on a timeline. Call it boring. Call it mature. Call it a kind of love that keeps working even after the marriage ends. In a world of messy endings, a quiet one can be the loudest statement of all. Now, to the question fans keep asking, was Greenville a one-off or a warning? Here's the most honest answer you'll hear. One canceled show doesn't mean anything, unless you learn nothing from it. If Keith and his team treat it like a red light, full stop, full reset, full recovery, then the next run can be stronger, tighter, safer. If they try to sprint on a swollen cord, the voice will make the decision for them. Every singer who's ever been there knows you can't negotiate with inflammation. You can only respect it. So watch the small signs. Not the gossip, the craft. How long he talks on stage, how much he asks the crowd to sing, where he places big belters versus mid-range comfort songs, how many acoustic moments balance the set, whether he leaves space between dates. These are the tells. These are the choices of an artist thinking in years, not days. What about the fan discourse, the love, the worry, the side-eye? It's all real, and it's all part of being a public figure. Some fans are fiercely protective. Rest up, we'll be here when you're back. Some fans are endlessly curious. What's happening behind the scenes? Some fans are just hurt. I planned this for months. Every feeling counts. But only one thing cures all of them: a great show. When the lights go down and the first chord rings out, gossip evaporates. People stop refreshing. They start remembering. That's the gift live music gives. Clarity. 90 honest minutes. A trade. Your voice, their trust. And if the voice isn't ready yet, then the most honest thing you can do is wait. There's a moment at every concert when the artist steps away from the mic and lets the crowd sing the hook. It looks like a trick. It's actually a truth, because the song never belonged to the artist in the first place. It belonged to the people who made memories with it. Weddings, breakups, road trips. It's why one lyric change on tour can cause 1,000 think pieces, because fans aren't hearing just a word. They're hearing their life. Keith knows this. He's built a career on meeting people right where they are, honest, messy, joyful, heartbroken, and lighting it up. So if right now his story looks a little dim, that doesn't mean the bulb is broken. It means someone's hand is on the switch, deciding when to turn it back on. Let's finish where we began. Silence. Silence can be a punishment. It can also be a promise. A promise that the next sound will be the right one. A promise that the first note back won't be a wince, but a welcome. A promise that the music will outlive the noise, because that's what real artists do. So yes, Greenville was a shock. Yes, the divorce is public and painful. Yes, the rumors will keep humming as long as the internet does. But when Keith Urban finally steps out and lets the vocal run free, clean, centered, unmistakable, you'll hear something you can't get from a headline. You'll hear a man who made the hardest choice you can make in the middle of a storm. He chose to listen. To his doctors. To his body. To the quiet. And maybe, just maybe, that's the way through everything else. Because at the end of the day, a canceled show isn't the end of a story. It's a breath before the chorus. And the next chorus? That's where the truth lives. If you followed the breadcrumbs, you can feel the next beat coming. Not the gossip beat. The music one, watch for it. Wait for it. Let it arrive on its own time. And when it does, remember Greenville not as a failure, but as the moment the story got honest. Because sometimes the bravest sound a singer can make is silence. Before you go, tell me this. Do you think the pause in Greenville was just vocal rest? Or the start of a full reset? Drop your take below, then hit subscribe so you don't miss the moment the lights go down and the first note comes back.